Hi, y'all. I'm Jarrett. I work at the Netter Center. I'm involved, one of the many folks involved in the design and implementation of the Rebel Store and Fruit Stand. You're watching this because you're also involved in the design and implementation of the Rebel Store and Fruit Stand. And this video is about the adult guide. It's like the instructor mentor guide, and I'm going to walk through it, and we'll walk through it together. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So this is the Rebel Store Fruit Stand Instructor Mentor Guide. It's a Google Doc. I'll have this link in the video. It'll also be shared with you, I'm sure, if you're working on this project. It'll be very easily accessible. Hopefully, that's the goal. And if not, email me, steinjm@sas.upenn.edu. And you'll see that later on. Okay, so let's walk through it together. This is the guide for all adults working on this project. Below are the links and resources to the information for you to run a successful Rebel store. All Rebel stores are unique, so add, subtract, change things as necessary. What is important is that you feel confident in fostering a safe and joyful space for the Rebel store team. Before fall 2023, so before right now, the Rebel store activity was called Fruit Stand. Now we're trying something new. Now the overall activity is going to be called Rebel Store, and a big part of this activity is Fruit Stand. This is going to make sense, and we're going to make it make sense together over time. This is an awesomely dynamic and adaptive program to the needs of our schools and students. So we're working together here. Okay. The project is a small group of students and adults working together to create samples of healthy snacks to share, Fruit Stand. All foods created by the Rebel Store team will be shared as samples, not sold for Rebel Bucks. All other non-food products can be sold for Rebel Bucks, such as friendship bracelets, and you'll learn about all of this stuff. And they can all be sold for Rebel Bucks at prices set by the Rebel Store students and adults, so like y'all, the team. So non-food products will be sold for Rebel Bucks. All students in the after-school program, the UX after-school program, university-assisted community schools, Netter Center run after-school program, will receive Rebel Bucks for attendance and acts of kindness, and they will use them at the Rebel Store that y'all are going to be running together. Students working with you to run the Rebel Store will also earn Rebel Bucks for attendance and acts of kindness, just like all students in the after-school program. And this is new, a new system, a new version of this system. And so we're going to be learning this all together and trying our best to implement it with fun and fidelity. Okay, important things to remember as an adult working with Rebel Store and Fruit Stand. Let's just Rebel Store, Fruit Stand. Okay. These are just some really important things. There's a lot of other important things, but here's some stuff that we definitely want to be remembering. Safety and hygiene first and last. Okay. We're working with kids, we're working with food, we're working with scissors, we're working in the schools, and we just want to really make sure that our space and our activities are safe. And if you don't feel confident in that, let's not do that activity. We've got a lot of activity sheets that involve markers and paper, and we can do those instead. Okay, so safety and hygiene first and last. Be as prepared as possible and be prepared for things to change. And as we walk through this, you'll, I think, understand how and why and how, just sort of the program is built on things changing. Okay. Be as organized as possible. Okay. So again, you're working in schools, you're working on a specific after-school activity. We're in control of our supplies and materials. Do the best you can. You'll be receiving supplies from a summer camp. That team did the best they can. They could. Have grace, do the best you can with what you have, and we will do our best to get you more and support you in every way possible to be as organized as possible. Okay. Now, in terms of working together, relationships drive learning. So have fun, learning about each other. be yourself. We're working with kids, and like it's just all about being like who you are and like learn about who they are. Our teams are incredibly diverse and dynamic. Our purpose working together is to build things, so have fun doing things, building things together. This overall project is a participatory action research project. So these words really do mean something. We're participating together in these teams. Everyone has a role. We're acting, we're really building stuff, we're making change, we're researching, we're learning, we're contributing, we're sharing what we learn. And it's a fun project in an after-school program. Have fun creating a positive impact. What you're doing has real meaning. It's there's a lot of research behind why this works, and you'll see and have experience in creating positive impact. And so have also fun reflecting on that with yourself, with your team, with the students you're working with. It's built into the program and hopefully into your own sort of just what you're doing. Okay. In terms of relationship building, this is about with students and of course with each other as adults. So make sure you're talking with the other adults working on this project together about the different things that you want to get done, who's going to do what, check in with each other. This is about in person if needed, like prior to making sure you're getting on the van, have the supplies you need from the Netter Center. We're all working together to support young people in this overall program. And if you need help, ask for it. And we're going to share a lot of contact info soon. At all times, we're all going to have a lot more fun together if you sort of have a willingness to be flexible. We're working in schools, we're working in after-school programs. Kids just had long days. And this is about sort of just, having a really awesome, enriching experience. And so let's just do what we need to make that happen. We're dealing with food, so like cleanup is always a thing. And just like, if you bring like sort of active joy and positivity into the things you're doing and flexibility into what you need to do to get things done, others will follow you and be a good role model in that way. And going back to safety and hygiene first and last. Okay. So those are some important things to remember. Some big ideas just about what we're doing here together. The Rebel Storm Fruit Stand teams are led by K-8 students, facilitated by adults. So adults are providing space, tools, supplies, support, a lot of facilitation, a lot of mentorship, a lot of supervision. And you are working together to create healthy and delicious snacks. We'll look at the fruit stand photo guides and other, sources of, recipes that we have and that we can learn, creativity is part of this. We'll learn about that. As well as kid desired non-food products, friendship bracelets and other things from the Rebel Ink toolkit. And this isn't a toolkit that's actively being built. So if we have more ideas to add, we want to do that. Okay, that's a big idea. Another big idea. The Rebel Store, this like marketplace that y'all are helping to run in each of the schools that you're working in with these teams. Like the currency of the Rebel Store is Rebel Bucks, and Rebel Bucks are a physical card that students will bring to you to exchange for these non-food products that y'all are creating. And the students are earning Rebel Bucks for attendance. So everyone in the program gets Rebel Bucks, and for kindness. And so this is like a big idea, and really thinking about how we can do our best to support student growth. Okay. Cooperation, teamwork, good deeds, those sorts of things. Okay. Another big idea, the Rebel Store Fruit Stand team and Rebel Buck Economy are all student-led. So that's it. We're listening and asking questions as adults and guiding and supporting. The Rebel Store and Fruit Stand teams are working to gain stars for the Star Fruit Guide. This is in development. So the idea is that there will be ways that your team can achieve excellence by reaching benchmarks and goals, and then earn things for your after school program, like sports equipment and stuff, and also get like a trophy and stuff. More to come on this. This is in development. Okay, some values for this program overall: Rebel Store Fruit Stand, student-led, real-world, fun, and safe. So when we're making decisions and reflecting on what we're doing, like, let's see how we're doing in these categories, and do our best to have our actions in what we're doing align with our values. Okay, we're going to go through some important links now. This might be a good time if you want to press pause and open up the mindfulness exercise and do a flamingo pose, because I know we've been going through a lot already, but we'll get to that later. And for those that want to just keep on going, we're going to now go to this top link for us to look at together, which is the adult staffing spreadsheet as it stands now on September 28th, 2023. So this has here is schools here. Right now it's sorted by days, but let's sort it by school. Okay, so Comegys is a school and the adults working on that day, okay? And as you can see, everything is still being built, and I'm doing my best here to organize this. But the mentor instructor designation is instructors are folks that are working multiple days a week at a site after school, and mentors are working 1 day a week after school at a site on this team. Okay, so this is where we have some email contact information. Everyone on this list right now are folks that are going to be running, like, the adults on these fruit stand teams on these days at these sites. Everyone here is a Penn student except our incredible colleague, Tanisha, who is an awesome, incredible staff person, after school staff person at Lee, educator extraordinaire, and is going to be the lead or an instructor at Lee on the Rebel Store Fruit Stand team. We also have AUNI staff, full-time nutrition educator extraordinaires, awesome Gianna at Lee and incredible Stacy at Comegys, who will likely have a really incredible role supporting fruit stand and the creation of healthy deliciousness on certain days. And we're working on figuring out schedules now. And again, these are dynamic teams, so hopefully we will also be recruiting more folks to join as needed. Okay. Also on this list are site directors so Netter Center full-time staff, University Assisted Community School site directors at these schools. So they are just brilliant colleagues. Miss Artia, Miss Alayson, Coach Z, Mr. Aziz are the principals of after school. They're the people in charge of coordinating all the after school activities. We've got cells here. I'll get emails in here soon. And there's folks working off-site to support the project. Again, this is in development. So if you're not here, you will be added, but I'm helping to coordinate. We have an awesome, incredible Penn student, Maria, helping in the office, make sure supplies are everywhere that they need to be. An amazing Penn Law student, Ray, helping develop our Rebel Bucks program, and was also a fruit stand instructor at Hamilton Elementary School in the 22-23 year. We have just brilliant design team of Penn students creating different design resources for the project. And also, so again, we have just such a unbelievably amazing team of people working on this project. Peace is a Penn student working on curriculum development and the Starfruit Guide right now. And we're excited about how that happens. And Peace has been involved throughout the development of this project. We have incredible colleagues at AUNY that will be added to this list: Maris, Hallie, Eric, others. And it's just, again, this list is in development. Okay. Rebel Store, hierarchy of needs. This is a graphic poster you'll see in different places around, and we're talking about it now first as an important document because it really is like, again, safety first. This is modeled off of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, just in terms of like the idea that at the bottom is like really foundational to be able to keep going up for the whole project to like flourish. So safety is first. If we aren't safe, let's not do it. Joy is next. Like this is just how like we want to like sort of come into the experiences that we're having together, is just try and have fun, like making smoothies or building or painting flower pots or leading exercises, small groups, ask folks, kids, students to take leadership and model that like joy yourself. If we do that, we'll have like really, really, really awesome creativity happening, because the program you'll see is built around having relationships with kids in small groups, doing things that you're passionate about together. Okay. And then if we can do all those things, we'll like have this impact of healthy deliciousness. And so that might be the snacks that we're sharing, parfaits, smoothies, fruit salads, etc. Anything that we can create together, and different like products we're inventing. And then and you'll see this sort of like healthfulness, hopefully, being created. That's our goal. Okay. Next link is fruit stand photo guides. So this was referenced before. These are going to be printed and laminated and at your sites, and just like sort of recipes, but like laid out very visually to follow, to make different things at fruit stand, to share. And they're very basic frameworks. And then the idea is that like when you get sort of the basics down, you can then flourish with your creativity of trying different fruits, trying different levels, trying different everything. We have to really be like, and I'll be supporting y'all with the ordering of stuff, but like, aware of not having allergens in what we're doing. And if there are uncommon allergens in the program, trying to avoid them. For example, at a school last year, we had like a pineapple allergy. So we, tried to make sure that was not present when that student was eating anything. Okay, so there's a lot of great basics, and then we've also got some really like innovative ideas. And so look through this, and we'll start with basics, but it's great for y'all to have like real knowledge of innovative ideas and ideas for doing other things, so that you can ask your team if they want to make these things too, anything that you're interested in. And these were all designed based on like some basic limitations of what y'all have in fruit stand in terms of the time that you have, the lack of cooking, the lack of knives, like we'll use lettuce knives. And so you'll see there. Okay. Rebel Ink Toolkit, also in, all these things, like when you have new ideas, we add new things, but you'll have these binders printed out that have instructions to build non-food products that kids can create and sell. So custom hula hoops, hand-painted flower pots, painted rocks, and we'll have like access to these supplies. You'll have to tell us what you need so we can order the supplies and get them to your site. Your site will have some supplies now from the summer. You'll bring some supplies from the Netter Center that we have there when you hear about what kids want to make, and we'll order supplies for new things that we don't have that kids want to make. Again, friendship bracelets, huge hit. These are instructions, are almost all designed by Penn students. So if you have interest in designing instructions, that's also for new things, like an amazing need of the program. to engage students in new ways. The product sheet is just a graphic that we have for students that have made products to sort of guide that entrepreneurial process in a very simple way. So this is great to have printed out. You can laminate these on site if you want to have this be at the point of sale at the market. So that's that. Activity sheets. This is what I'm talking about. If like you don't feel safe or we need other engaging things, there's all these incredible activity sheets designed by Penn students that will be available if you want them printed. Some will already be at site. You can look at them and tell us if you want others that you feel like look interesting. Like this fruit crown is created by a Penn student each June, is wonderful. You color the fruit, you cut it out, you wear it around your head. And there's so many. I mean, like there's really like more focused nutrition sheets that we can bring in that, really align with kids learning about different fruits and vegetables and categories and different, steps to make smoothies. This is actually really, really fun because it's to make a green smoothie. And so I think we want to make sure that we put the greens in. I don't actually see, I think these might be the greens. So we want to put the greens in with the water first and blend that and then put the fruit in so that it doesn't like sort of clog the blender because the frozen fruit right away and the greens can then be a little bit tough to handle. Okay, for the blender blades that we have. Okay, so that those are the activity sheets. Roll sheet. Okay, so this is a real world activity. So we've tried to design some simple roles that we'll talk about sort of in our curriculum framework later for students to take on when they're participating in this project. And these sheets are printed and laminated at your site, and they're to be used as guides if they are helpful, and if they're not, don't use them. But they are designed to really provide guidance to students that are working on food prep and operations, working on like marketing point of sale at the Rebel store station and or creating products at the Rebel Ink station, working on just like taking inventory and accounting at the Rebel store station, working on nutrition, like education at the Rebel store station, and working on like sort of health promotion and self-care, like leading exercise, sort of stretching activity for the team, the health promoter role at the Rebel store station, but we'll learn about that in a second. And then the role binders. Some of the roles have binders that will be on your site at your site that are there for the role to use. Like whoever's in the nutrition researcher role will have a binder that has these fact sheets for like every fruit and vegetable laminated or in a like plastic sleeve. So if you're making a blackberry or raspberry, like a student can learn about them and teach others about them. And so like that's what these roll binders are all about. Okay, so that's the link there. Next links are to training resources for you. So we have this incredible partnership with Quaker Kitchen at Penn, and they have helped us make tutorial videos about the very simple, sort of basic, foundational recipes of fruit stand, as well as like the cleaning things of our blender, for example. Like I was talking about how our blender blades are pretty like not strong because they are strong in spirit, but in actual power, they're pretty basic blenders. And so we need to be just like thoughtful when we use them. in terms of like if we want to blend greens, do it like again, like I said, in the water first, so the greens get as blended as possible, and then add the frozen fruit if we're making green smoothies. This is a great tutorial on like that final clean of the blender. And there's like a few steps that are really good to take. And so all the sites are different in their access to sinks and kitchens and how you get there. And we're going to work together to make sure you have the best access possible and all the equipment possible to keep things as clean and safe as possible. This isn't Quaker Kitchen at Penn, so this is like different than the different schools that we work in terms of you know, sinks and things, but we should have access at each site to what we need to make sure everything is clean. But no, and this shows the steps of like, especially for the blender, making sure everything is clean. So you can see that we're like taking apart the bottom and cleaning out the bottom and the blade. And so you have to be really careful when you clean the blade, for example. Okay, so these tutorial videos are awesome. They're short, 3 minutes for this one. So like, you know, like watch them if you can, when you can. But they're really great. And also go eat at Quaker Kitchen if you can. It's an amazing dining hall on campus. Okay. So Fruit Stand has a YouTube channel that will show you, and like all these are there, but Maria is the amazing operations manager, incredible Penn student. This is the Netter Center office. This is where all the supplies are. Some of y'all might be picking up supplies from the Netter Center to bring to the site on the van. So Maria walks us through where lots of supplies are in that video. And then there's also like how to get to the office. We're going to try to make sure that y'all have the ability to laminate things, because that makes like paper signs more permanent, and you can, you know, put dry erase marker on them if you want. So all these supplies should be at your site. So if you want to laminate anything that you create, you can. And then one of the roles is these mindfulness exercises with your team. And this is an awesome GSE student that developed these with us. And so as adults like I encourage y'all to learn these. They're really fun, like kid-centered things. And then be excited with a health promoter to lead your team through the exercise, like a fruit stand session. And each one video again is short, 3 minutes. So watch one if you can. They're really fun. I do them in the morning sometime. So that is that link. Training, y'all all should have received food handler link, enrollment. We paid for it, so please do it. This is just basic food safety. Put it on your resume if you want, as like a thing that you have a skill in. And it will be helpful for sure when you're working in the schools to make sure you're handling food properly. A lot of this is not at all relevant to what we're doing. A lot of this is talking about meat and just like different stuff that like is way not close to what we're working in here in this project. And there are basics that are very important. So thank you for, getting your food handlers training, serve safe food handlers training. Netter Center Safe Spaces Handbook is an incredible resource created by a Penn GSE student and in collaboration with like the diverse, incredible participatory community across the Netter Center around best practices to create safe spaces in the places that we work. So I encourage y'all to read this and just like learn from it, reflect on it. The Netter Center Student Handbook is like sort of basic logistics and it's a lot of things. It's like theory as well as like logistics. It walks through the different schools. So like if you're not working, if you're working at Lee, like that's what's going to be most relevant to you. This was last updated in early February, in like the spring of this year. So if you have any questions about like the procedures, please let us know. But it talks about like having like, professional dress, but like you're also going to be working with kids and food. So it's like stuff that you're like willing to, like not like professional, but like respectful dress. So not what you would like wear to the gym, for example, necessarily, like unless you're like, wearing like very unrevealing and like good, like, reasonable clothing to the gym. Okay. So but look, everyone should definitely go to page 14 to get the real direction and not what I just said. So let's do this. Okay. If you have pen gear, we're going to wear pen gear. You're going to, let's wear shirts with sleeves, no skin showing between shirts and pants, no undergarment showing, for safety, no, these things. This is a great point. Sneakers and boots. Okay, tattoos with profanity and sexual content must be covered. Okay, no hats are to be worn inside buildings. I'm glad we're going through this because I'm wearing a hat inside a building right now, and I do work with food. So it's actually in this program, and you'll see later in our uniform video that like hairnets or hats in fruit stand / rebel store are encouraged, like are required really in fruit stand. So we don't want hair in our food. Okay. No excessive jewelry for sure. Okay, so we're not gonna go through this whole thing, but just because I didn't want to have my summary of the dress code be what is in the recording, we need to go through that. So that's a student handbook. Let's go, everyone, take a look at it. And then this is more like if you're passionate about this stuff and you want to look at the YouTube channel, but then also like external sources of inspiration. A lot of incredible videos about Netter Center work that's really youth centered and aligned with like the values of this project. And this project's been very inspired by a fun sort of thing that I like to point out, an inspiration is the Adventure Playground in Berkeley, where young people gain access by like sort of picking up trash around the area and then can play in this playground that they can also like actively help build. There's adult supervision. And you can, if you want, read more about any of these things. A lot of like food related research there too. Okay. Now let's actually talk about, sorry, this wasn't supposed to be there, the activity that y'all will be doing together. So this is the Rebel Store fruit stand agenda. Introduction / week 1 is just like, this is about relationship building, like this agenda and only, and it's like not making food, it's not making products. So sort of like do this the first time that you're working with your team. If you want to do it more than like however long it takes, like do intro, like walk through things. And then usually it's like one time, and then like we get into the activities because the activities are like the doing and the fun. So the intro, I'm just going to walk through these like frameworks for like adults to have to run the activities with students. And again, very adaptive. So, y'all are the ones on site doing the work, and y'all are like here for a reason. So be confident in what you do and have it be aligned with the values. Here's a guide for what to do. Okay. Follow the steps to run an amazing Rebel Store fruit stand with your team. All the times are, procedures are tentative and should be modified for what works best. Okay. So it starts with adult prep. So this is what adults do when they arrive before you start working with kids or with, K-8 students. So gather all the supplies. So you're going to have like bins of supplies. The first time it's going to be less organized than the second time, but like there will be bins of things. And we're going to try to set up 3 stations in the space that you're working in with students. So like supplies will probably be in a separate space from where you're working in with students at your site. So you want to get the supplies and bring them to the space where you're working with students. And your site director and others will help you in terms of like where those things are going to be, and if needed with like elevator key dollies, and over time and quickly, we will respond to needs in terms of support to getting things moved from A to B. Because like everyone should be doing things in ways that they can. And so we want to have like the right tools to do that. There are things at sites and things disappear from sites or like get sent to other places. And so we just need to sort of see what like an experience together, and then we'll get what we need if we don't have what we need. Okay. There should be different bins to set up these stations, and your team does this together. So you'll have those binders that we talked about, bins for fruit stand things, bins for building the Rebel Ink products. And then there's this Rebel Store improvement station where the roles that are like sort of around running this like store, learning about nutrition, being in these other roles. The roles have wristbands for the kids if they are in them, so that's fun. And like that is can be like another station, just so there's small groups and it's sort of the space is set up to have like really engaged small group activity and mentorship and like focus. Okay, so those are the ways that the stations are organized. So that might be like 3 cafeteria tables. It might be 3 spaces in a classroom. We just want to try to have 3 stations with these supplies. Okay. Then adults, y'all are going to write agendas on chart paper. Okay. Sticky chart paper, very important for this project. Like use lots of sticky chart paper, write things down, write people's names on things, draw arrows, have fun with chart paper and use chart paper because it's really good to see what's going on. And especially at the beginning, like having an agenda is very important. So take time to write an agenda, Rebel Store, plan for today. It's really Rebel Store fruit stand, but like we're just like trying to make it as few words as we can to help everybody. But like Rebel Store fruit stand plan for today. What we're going to do is we're going to have a goal first. So our goal for the day is to set rules for the Rebel Store and bring them to life. Next thing we're going to do, so like we'll just like say that day, the beginning. Then we're going to talk about why are we running the Rebel Stores with with the students. We're going to talk about the rules. We're going to create rules together. We're going to talk about the activity stations, walk through those together, walk through like any other spaces together, talk through the fruit stand uniform so everyone knows what that is. Talk about sort of what earning Rebel Bucks is, how that happens, figure out if we need any more aprons to make sure everybody in your team has an apron. And if they don't, y'all can tell me, I can order them, we'll get them there. Okay, so that's one piece of chart paper. You write that stuff down before students get there. There's another sheet of chart paper where you write this, why are we running the Rebel Store? And then there's another sheet of chart paper where you write this, Rebel Store rules, like big letters, right? Okay. Cool. Adults and students. Okay, so that's what we do before the students get there. Now adults and students are together. So students have come to your space. You have gathered the students. Okay. We sign in, and this is what we're hoping all the after school classes use to track Rebel Buck earning in the class. So student name, that they're there, and then throughout the class, if they earn a Rebel Buck for kindness, you'll just tally and why here, because then there'll be space to reflect at the end. Okay, so that's that. Play a fun name game. Names are so important that like we know each other's names. So you have any name game you want. I, during COVID, explained how to do this game called I Am a Fruit or a Vegetable, which really is like pretty much 100%. And I've tried this probably 100 times, probably more engagement. So it really works. So I encourage y'all to try I'm a Fruit or a Vegetable as a fun name game, and any other name games you want to try and play. And I'm a Fruit or a Vegetable works at any time, not just the beginning. Like, so if you just like, want to throw that game into the middle, that also is fun, or any other game, you know, to just like break up sort of whatever it is you're doing, if that is an appropriate thing you feel like that might be needed at a time. Okay. So after a name game, Oh, and also like there's going to be blank stickers that we like labels, address labels, different shapes at your site that we use for different things. And one is name tags. So definitely like make name tags for each other at any time. And you can make it as fun as you want, have people make their own. So that there's just easy ways to know everybody's name. Okay. Adult ask volunteer, like a student volunteer to read the agendas. It's like sort of the orientation of every activity is like asking students about things. So agendas are read. The first one's like, why are we running the Rebel store? And or like, then we ask this, why are we gonna run the Rebel store? That's the thing on the agenda. And so students will talk about that. You can explain how, because in the past, students have sold the fruit stand products for Rebel Bucks, and we're changing that, and it's going to be all shared this year for like as samples or just like shared. And so no Rebel Bucks exchanged. Like there's going to be no cost for the foods things. So you can ask about why sharing food is important, healthy and delicious food, and any other questions, so that we all have like agreement on like why what we're doing is important. And listen to the students, add your own ideas of why this project is important and the work you're doing together is important. And then on that third sheet of chart paper, sorry, it says instructor. This can just say adult, because this really is about y'all sharing responsibilities and things as you are like passionate about them or want to do them or feel like it would be good for the team and stepping up to do things. So asking about what the rules should be for us to run dynamically edit Rebel Store fruit stand together. Okay, and you'll write the rules down and everyone can like sign the sheet of chart paper to sort of agree to it. And that one is good to save for sure. Like just roll it up and put it in one of the bins or in a safe space, because we're going to put that up on the wall just every time that y'all are working together as a team on the rules. Okay. We're gonna keep it moving. So now we have after those like fun sort of participatory chart paper creation activities, we're gonna like walk through the stations together and the different roles together. So the adult can explain that like everyone will sign up for these stations, they'll work on projects, they'll be in different roles, you can pass out the role sheets, you can read them, in different groups, count off 1 to 5 with the different sheets. If for some reason there's not a sheet at the site, like one of the adults can like have your phone maybe and just read it yourself to like help out the team, have this link handy, be flexible. But I think everything should be a site. We're trying we're trying really hard and doing our best. Okay. So okay, yeah. So just handing out these things, asking folks to read them aloud. So summer, so everyone knows all the multiple things that are happening and that they can do and sign up for. And hopefully just like as weeks progress, students do and sign up for different responsibilities. And like as adults, we facilitate balance, like everyone understands fairness. So if it's not sort of naturally folks switching things up and someone wants to try something that someone else has been doing, like, it's just about being fair, and we can all come together to that as a team if someone doesn't sort of agree. But we'll like work together to make sure that there is fairness and balance of everyone being able to, do all the different things and things that they're passionate about and try different things. Okay. Gather things up, gather up the rule sheets. One group will can like walk through or you can do this all together in terms of walking through other spaces that might be important that aren't in like the primary area you're working. For example, like finding where the sink is that you'll be using, or any other storage areas, looking through the bins together, and how things should be put back. Okay. And then also like just talking through the uniform, and this video was made again like during COVID. So like let's update it just as what makes sense based on best practices. So it's like trying to make sure your hair is covered, trying to make sure you're having an apron on if you want to be wearing an apron, which is like a definite best practice. And making sure you have gloves on and always have clean hands if you handle anything. Okay. And like while I'm saying an adult here, oftentimes students will have been doing this like prior. And so you always ask students like if they want to demonstrate, and then you can support them if there's anything that they've forgotten or like maybe haven't shown properly. And you like through usually questions, and people come to understand and like learn themselves the best practice. And sometimes though it's like, hey, but this is how I do it at home. But you're like, well, that's okay. And like home is home. We're responsible as adults for what happens here. And we have been given this set of like rules from like our person from Jarrett, you could say, from the organization, from the Netter Center. That's how we're going to do, like, when we wash our hands here after if like a student uses their phone, which they shouldn't do anyway, but if they do, like making sure that hands are washed. Okay. That's the uniform. Okay, so just wrap up, like we just always try to have intentional wrap up with the team. We have some ideas here for what that can look like. Don't ask the student volunteer to like reread the goal, ask how y'all did on the goals, talk about that together. Make sure we have the aprons, sizes if we need any new aprons. Make sure everything's clean and put away. Okay. I think we'll probably add something about reflecting on any Rebel bucks earned. So let's add that. This is what we talk about in terms of dynamic programming. We want to make sure, no matter what, that we're working together to just provide the most support to each other as possible. So how well they did as individuals. Adult students to reflect on how they reflect. So that would be like any acts of kindness that they did. And I think we want to like try to have like one per student, try to identify one awesome thing. And it talks about this in the Rebel Bucks tracker at the bottom, but like you don't want, I'm framing that as you always want to be doing positive reinforcement with Rebel Bucks. So we're not going to take things away. Like always, it's like, adding for good things. Okay. So this is where some best practices are about like giving out the Rebel Bucks. I missed that bottom part of the sign-in sheet, so I wanted to get back to it. But that's the week 1 agenda team with the team, all the students, and then the adults. Although you aren't really cooking on week 1, like we have this checklist in here just to make sure, and the site director can confirm these things in terms of like the trash that y'all produce. Like day 1 will be very minimal, but like when you start making food things, we just have to make sure that like the trash isn't staying overnight in the schools. And so whatever the procedure is, we just need to make sure we're supporting in it happening. So that might involve helping to take out the trash. It might not. Site directors will help us understand whatever needs to happen in terms of the cleanup procedures. The like main important thing is, again, like safety, hygiene. We're leaving spaces cleaner than we found them. We're cleaning out sinks if we've like rinsed a smoothie and like there's seeds in the sink. Like we have to clean out the sink. Like we can't leave anything for the person that is responsible for feeding every student in the school to come to and add to their job at 6 in the morning. And it might even include then having to deal with like rodents or something because we've been responsible for food And like it just hasn't been a hygienic process and safe process that we've followed. So again, that's first, that's last. If we don't feel confident in being able to do it, just talk, like we then don't do things, and that's okay. We adapt the programs to make sure we have the systems in place to do things that align with our values and what we're how we're like working together to run, to help the students run their economy and store and food sharing activity. So okay, that's that. And by that's that is the finishing of the introductory sort of relationship building focused lesson. And stick with me, team. Remember, press pause, do a mindfulness video, come back to this later if you need to. I read research that 25 minutes, then pausing for 5 minutes is like a really good thing. But do whatever you need to do to be able to keep listening to me and learn about the way that we've designed at this point Rebel Store to work, because we've now got 2 more lesson frameworks that we're going to go through together. Okay. And we're going to keep it going with safety, joy, creativity, and then you'll see together we're going to be creating healthy deliciousness. Okay. So I'm gonna embody the joy here. I really do love this program. So Rebel Store, fruit stand, team building, skill development. So just to contextualize this, again, sorry to go back a little bit, but I want to make sure we're on the same page about how fruit stand, Rebel Store activity happens in these in the after schools that we work in. Comegys, for example, has the Rebel Store activity, the Rebel Store fruit stand activity on Mondays and Wednesdays. So a small group of K-8 students will be working with these adults on Mondays and these adults on Wednesdays. And y'all can see that incredible Carmen will be there on Mondays and Wednesdays. So Julia and Sarah and Sophia, incredible students, will be there working together with Carmen on their assigned days. And so it's 2 days at Comegys. At Hamilton, it's Monday and Friday. Okay, 2 days a week, small group of students and a team. And at Lee, there's more days a week. Okay, so Lee is going to have the team, the Rebel Store fruit stand team, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And the Friday team is going to do an even like sort of more focused fruit stand focused activity, like more like just like food R&D, with an even smaller group of like different students than Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But Lee is going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with the same group of K-8 students. And as y'all can see, Tanisha at Lee, our just like awe-inspiring after-school instructor, is leading each day there. And so that means on Monday, after relationship building happens, like that lesson, or however many days that takes, on the first day of the week, in a typical week, like a Monday, the team is going to do the team building agenda. And the second day of the week, so at Comegys on Wednesdays, the team is going to do the running the Rebel Store agenda. Like every week you go, and each week you'll do better and build and learn and stuff and do different stuff with the same group of students and supporting them in, becoming entrepreneurs and food product developers and educators and accountants and all these different things, artists. Okay. So that is sort of the context to these 2 agendas. Okay. At Lee, the team building practice agenda is going to happen, at least the plan right now, is on Mondays and Tuesdays. And the store agenda is going to be on Wednesdays. Okay. Okay. And Fridays, again, at Lee is going to be more like team building, but really just focused on the food stuff, I think, with a different group of students. Although some students might be the same, but Fridays is called Fun Fridays, and kids get to choose whatever they want on Fridays, and it can change. Whereas on the other days of the week, they're like in a club for the semester. Okay. Now, with that in mind, let's go to the week 2 and beyond, or like after relationship building happens, agenda or framework for this like activity, this time you're spending together as the team. So adult prep, remember just adults at the beginning of the doc. You got to gather your supplies for the stations. Same thing, like same ideas here, right? Like we're just doing it again and doing better each time, and the organization and what we're bringing and then how we're bringing it there and that sort of thing. Chart paper, one of them is an agenda. This is going to be very similar. You adapt it how you want to, but like there's a basic framework for it. Sign in, have a goal, which is like testing and product development, helping improve the Rebel store. Pick what you want to do and write on this with your marker what the students want to sign up for. Then you'll clean up, wrap up, and reflect. Second piece of chart paper is what's actually going to be happening at the store. And I actually guess this is probably the one that you really definitely want to write on. Everything though is good to be writing on and making sure things are clear. But this should have remembered. I think I got excited, but that I wrote the instructions here to write on them. But the second sheet of chart paper. So the first sheet is the agenda that you'll have to walk through with the students. So the students will walk it through when they get there. The second sheet of chart paper is going to break up what the stations are doing. So there's the fruit stand station, and you can sort of either put in what you're going to want to make, like smoothies, or you can put in the ingredients you have, and then like sort of the activity of the station will be figuring out what to make. And it can kind of go either way. The beginning maybe is better to, maybe we feel more confident knowing what we want to be making, like smoothies. And it can, again, like we can, depending on what y'all are passionate about, do it. So those are what we would write. And then when sort of after we go through this with the students, we'll write names on who wants to do what, trying to have as much balance as possible, as well as adult names. Okay, so that's the fruit stand station. The Rebel ink station will, I think, be at the beginning, probably just folks going through the binders and picking what they want to make. And then that will be communicated back to us and Maria, and we'll be able to order stuff. And then y'all will be able to bring the supplies, if they aren't already at the Netter Center, after they get delivered there to the sites, to be able to build this stuff. And you can practice making those posters that we looked at, or those signs that we looked at, to like develop what they want to make. They can do pitches for what they want to make, like be creative with it. And you might have supplies already on site, and you can write down what they can make with those supplies. And if students want to start making those things, then that's awesome. Like that's what we want to have happen at this station is, students are just building their products to be able to sell them to their peers for Rebel Bucks. And then there's this third station with the different roles that students can do. If they're in design, they can, help with menus for whatever is going to be made or sold, or sorry, not sold, whatever is to be shared in food wise, or product signs and price tags for whatever will be sold non-food wise in terms of products. And we'll also just be bringing y'all like stress balls and fidgets and erasers and notepads and bookmarks to have the kids be able to sell for Rebel Bucks, like a school store does. And so that'll be another thing to do. Then if students want to like there's no pressure here in terms of accounting. But if there's students that like want to do inventory, there are also some sheets there that will like you'll see in the binders around pricing different products, and they were mostly geared towards the last iteration of Fruit Stand. So there might be some customization needed for this one, and we're going to work together to make sure y'all have this great up-to-date things as possible. And it's a dynamic program, so we're working together. So again, no pressure on accounting. If students want to, help though in this area, and adults do, like it can definitely happen. Nutrition researcher is an awesome role to have a student learn about and explain what the different benefits are for the foods that y'all are going to be making and sharing. The health promoter leading the team in the exercises when it's appropriate, like maybe when like a sort of brain break is needed, or sort of like right before cleanup or right sort of like early if that can make sense and not be too disruptive. But that's the health promoter role. And then there's going to be activity sheets again. If like we don't feel, or if students want to do like awesome coloring, like that's amazing. And there's going to be different activity sheets available if that's something that students want to be doing. And if we don't feel things are safe, it's a great thing to have happen. And some of the activity sheets are like more relationship building bingo games, and so there's lots that can be done with what we have there. Okay. And then the third chart paper is going to have the rules. And that is something that everyone, like can see, they've already signed on to. Okay. Again, this second sheet of chart paper is what we are going to have students like, Jared, if I'm on your team, like I would put my name here when I know that I want to be like in design that session. And students can like switch up if they want to after they do a task. And that's talked about soon. Okay, so that is just writing the chart papers. Before the students get there, it should take maybe about 10 minutes. Y'all can break it up depending on how many adults are there. Okay. Students now gather, sign in, name game, name tags if you want to. Students reading agendas, signed up for what they're doing. Y'all break up into activity stations. As the Fruit Stand team is like ready to share things, let's share things, let's get feedback, let's write stuff down, let's do taste tests. We want to make sure things are cleaned up by the end. So I just like encourage y'all to do your best to plan and like to make sure that you're not leaving everything and like leaving all the tasting till the end, if that is going to mean that there's going to be a lot of cleanup after that. But whatever makes the most sense in terms of when things are ready to be able to share samples of whatever you're making, to learn about, to really be able to have the best stuff to share during the store, when every student in the after school should be coming to hopefully get a sample of what y'all are making when the store's open. The exercise we've talked about, and then all other activities are happening during this time too. We just write that, all other activities. Okay. Adults are like overseeing, helping, supporting, awarding a rebel buck if there's an act of kindness, writing it down in the tracker. Making sure we're cleaning up with at least 15 minutes left. We want to make sure everything's put away. Adults are double checking all things are cleaned and stored properly. Then let's do some intentional reflection about how the rebel bucks were earned, what was accomplished, how the rebel bucks were earned. Make sure we're leaving the space cleaner than we found it. And adults do the cafeteria cleaning checklist. Okay, team. Once you get it, it sort of becomes more of a hopefully like efficient and sustained thing. So we already sort of hopefully are seeing from sort of the setup to now the practice, and now we're going to talk about running the store. Okay. / food sampling, like just like experience, right? Like, let's expose young people to the most beautiful, healthy, delicious sharing of snacks that we possibly can. Okay, that's what's happening here. So adults get there first. We gather supplies in our space that we're going to be working in and set up our stations. Oh my gosh, look at this. It says tables. And we change the name to stations. As you can see, y'all, dynamic. If at your site y'all call it something else, we'll change it. We want it to be as like fun as possible, and as real world as possible. Stations will probably be on tables, but we're going to call them stations. I just want to make sure that we have that. Oh, we didn't have that here. Okay, sorry team for going back, but and you can see that I don't really have tech skills. I'm sure there's a faster way to do what I just did, but thank you for all sticking with me. And if you want to support with tech, you can see that that's a need in so many different areas. Okay, opening the Rebel store for business. We've set up our stations with the supplies they need. We're pre-writing our agendas. The goal for today is preparing the delicious food samples to share and selling the youth created items and other, again, items that we have to sell for Rebel Bucks, like the pop-it bracelets and stress balls and things. Students pick the station they want to work on that day. This is just the agenda. Clean up and set up for the Rebel store, so that's new. Rebel store is open for business, that's new. Students, adults wrap up, that is standard, like that's what we're always going to try to do. There's some wrap up together. Okay, so that's the agenda chart paper. Second chart paper, what's happening at the stations? Whatever the food items that y'all are going to be making, let's write them down. Students will sign up that want to make them. For Rebel Inc., write names of students that want to work on getting their products ready to sell at the store. Or if they just want to work on their products, even if they aren't maybe ready, they can do that. And then the Rebel store station is like setting up the store, as well as the any of the accounting and nutrition research or health promoter things. Okay. And of course, activity sheets as needed. Chart paper 3, the rules. You have it already done. It's already, everyone signed it. Okay. Now students have come. We're signing in. Rebel Buck Tracker. Name game. Name tags if you want. Students are reading what's happening. Y'all make this as fun as you possibly can. Then we're signing up, everyone's signing up for what they want to do that day on the chart paper. We're in our activity stations. Fruit stand teams creating lots of samples. Remember, as many free samples as we can. Rebel Inc. teams getting their products ready. Rebel store team setting up the store. Adults are doing their check-ins. Awesome. Y'all are being incredible. Supports, floating, mentoring, deep one-on-one, helping build, helping clean, leading role models, safe, joyful, creative, healthy deliciousness. Okay. Then we're gonna clean up and make sure the store is set up. Okay, so like anything that was used to make the food has to be cleaned up before if probably either before the store's open, or some people are like still doing that cleanup while some people are opening the store. Stores usually open around like 4:30 in a typical after school day if possible, so all the students can shop. The store is going to probably look different week, like the first week y'all open to the end of the semester. It might be a cart that you're pushing around. It might be a table in a cafeteria. It might be a classroom that you're able to customize a little bit. It might start one thing and become another thing. It might become more carts. It might become cart plus. It might become taking orders. Like, y'all are going to make this experience the best it can be at the site, listening, bringing in your brilliance. In the past, it's usually like a cart or a table. Okay. And there's all sorts of people that can help with design things, and y'all can design it as well with your students on site as awesome as you possibly want to. Okay. Adults are overseeing. Rebel store is open. Y'all are doing an amazing job. The store's got to close. When the store closes, some students might have to go depending on if some students leave earlier than others, but those, like, as you're best able to as students are leaving, let's reflect on what was accomplished, Rebel Bucks earned, leaving spaces cleaner than they were found. Students might have earned Rebel Bucks if they want to spend at the store, which is awesome. Like, that's the whole point, and like facilitate that happening sort of as the best you can, either like buying the things at the beginning or in the middle or at the end, in terms of your own students that are running the store, but also being able to use the bucks that they've been earning. But let's wrap up together as best as we can, but make sure we're doing our sort of teamwork to clean and organize. And then store closes. It's a very exciting day. We're like, wow, we just had a really positive impact and had a really fun time. And then adults are going to make sure everything's cleaner than it was found. Then we're going to do our best to get the Rebel Bucks that y'all have taken in and either put in your cash box, or maybe it's just like a bag or safe space. There's like different things at the sites, and we'll get you whatever you need and want. But it could be one of those different things probably. We want to get most of those bucks back to the site director or the Rebel Bucks counter. Could be a specific staff person at the school in the after school program, who will then get the bucks back to the teachers that are handing them out for their students, as they're earning them on the tracker, just like students in Rebel Store Fruit Stand are earning them on the tracker. And y'all can hand them out. So like we just talked about, so students can buy them when the store is open. Buy things when the store is open. So that's the wrap up. Okay, team, we did it together. That's so if you have any questions, my contact information was here. It's the first important link, is everyone's contact information. Okay, so again, this will be shared, this document. I don't know how long this has been, but thank you for sticking with it, and have an incredible time on the Rebel Store Fruit Stand team. Whatever piece of that you feel most passionate about is what we hope that you're really being able to focus on, while always recognizing that, like, you're part of a team working with kids, creating safe spaces and having fun. And like, if you love art, hopefully like that can really be integrated. If you love math, that can be integrated. If you love cooking, that can be integrated into how you're participating and sort of bringing yourself to this team. And that's, exactly how we hope the K-8 students and everyone that's participating together on this is approaching it, and being like able to try different things and also focus on things that they really are interested and passionate about, and like are able to do in fun and safe ways. Okay, so that's that. More info to come on lots of logistical things. And again, if you have questions, let me know. And we're just going to do our best together. Have an incredible time, y'all, participating. And thank you for all of the just what you're bringing to this. It's really, we're incredibly thankful for everyone's energy that is sort of working on this together. So okay.